After a summer that turned him into arguably the single most talked about athlete in America, Erling Haaland now stands on the edge of something genuinely new. The first full Premier League season of his career without Pep Guardiola in the Manchester City dugout. With a fresh manager, a reshaped squad, and heightened expectations following his record-breaking World Cup run, this next chapter of his career carries more intrigue than almost any point since he first arrived in England. In this video, we are going to walk through exactly what this new chapter looks like, break down the specific changes and challenges Haaland now faces, and explore why American fans who fell in love with him this summer have every reason to keep watching closely as this season begins. So let us get into everything that is unfolding. To understand why this moment feels so significant, you have to appreciate exactly what is ending and what is beginning simultaneously at Manchester City. Pep Guardiola's departure closes out the most successful chapter in the club's entire history, a decade that delivered 6 Premier League titles and a Champions League crown, fundamentally transforming City into the dominant force in English football. His successor, Enzo Maresca, now inherits a squad built entirely around one manager's specific philosophy for 10 straight years, a genuinely difficult situation for any incoming coach, made even more complex by the fact that the squad's most important player, Haaland himself, remains firmly at the center of everything City hope to build going forward. Before we get into the specific storylines shaping this new chapter, take a second to hit that like button and make sure you are subscribed, because we are covering every twist of Manchester City's new era as the season gets underway. It only takes a second, and it genuinely helps the channel. Alright, let us get into it. If you only watched Haaland's Community Shield performance against Arsenal, you might have walked away with real concerns about how this new chapter would begin. He looked notably subdued in that 3-0 defeat, struggling to make a consistent impact throughout the match. Context matters enormously here, though. Haaland was, quite literally, one of the very last City players to return from his post-World Cup holiday, a break he genuinely needed after playing well over 60 competitive matches for club and country across the previous 12 months. Rather than reading too much into that single, subdued performance, most analysts covering the club have pointed to it as simply a natural byproduct of timing, rather than any genuine cause for concern heading into the matches that actually count. If recent history is any indication, there is very little reason to worry about how Haaland will start this new Premier League campaign. In each of his 4 previous seasons at Manchester City, he has scored 6 or more goals within his first 5 league matches, an extraordinary pattern of fast starts that has become almost a signature trait of his time in England. Analysts have specifically noted that another rapid start to this new season would go a long way toward giving Maresca everything he needs to build early momentum, reinforcing the idea that, whatever uncertainty surrounds City's broader transition, Haaland's individual output is expected to remain remarkably unaffected once the real action begins. One particularly interesting subplot within this new chapter involves leadership inside the squad itself. Reports have indicated that Maresca considers it unlikely Haaland will be named Manchester City's captain this season, despite his obvious standing as the team's most important individual player. That decision suggests Maresca may be looking to distribute leadership responsibilities differently than some might expect, an early signal of how the new manager intends to shape the culture and structure of his squad independent of who scores the most goals. For a player as central to City's identity as Haaland, this kind of decision offers a small but telling glimpse into exactly how much autonomy Maresca intends to exercise as he begins reshaping the club in his own image. Every honest assessment of this new chapter acknowledges the same basic reality. There is more pressure on Haaland's shoulders now than at any previous point in his Manchester City career. With the club entering a genuinely uncertain new era, question marks understandably surround nearly every other position on the pitch. But Haaland himself remains the one player nobody seriously questions. Analysts have been direct about this dynamic, arguing that it would be absolutely foolish to write off Manchester City's chances this season, while they still possess what many consider the single most deadly individual weapon in all of European football. Those expectations are not based on hope alone, they are backed by an already extraordinary body of work. Last season, Haaland scored 38 goals and added 9 assists across 52 total appearances for club and country combined. Numbers that somehow still resulted in his individual excellence being somewhat overlooked amid a season defined more by team results than personal accolades. He finished as the Premier League's outright top scorer for the third time in 4 seasons, netting 27 league goals and 8 assists across 35 appearances, continuing to grow his game in ways that extend well beyond simple goal scoring, including improved build-up play and a greater defensive contribution during set pieces. Ironically, that continued growth as a more complete, well-rounded player has made his individual dominance feel almost routine to some observers, a strange side effect of consistently setting the bar this high year after year. This next chapter also involves significant change beyond just the managerial position. Manchester City's roster has undergone considerable turnover, with long-time contributors John Stones and Bernardo Silva both departing the club, while City continues reshaping other key areas of the squad heading into the new campaign. That level of turnover represents the club's most significant overhaul since the earliest days of Guardiola's own tenure years ago, adding yet another layer of uncertainty to a transition already defined by the departure of the club's most successful manager in its history. Amid all of this transition, Haaland himself has made his own personal commitment to this new chapter unmistakably clear. Addressing ongoing speculation linking him to both Real Madrid and Barcelona, he reaffirmed his dedication to what he specifically described as exciting times ahead at Manchester City, firmly shutting down any suggestion that instability at the managerial level might translate into uncertainty about his own long-term future. That statement carries extra weight given his 10-year contract, signed back in January of 2025, which ties him to the club all the way until 2034. A deal that leaves absolutely no ambiguity about where his career is headed, regardless of who happens to be managing the team. For American audiences who spent this past summer falling in love with Haaland's personality and record-breaking World Cup performances, this next chapter offers exactly the kind of ongoing storyline worth following closely. Watching how he adapts to a new manager, whether he continues his pattern of fast starts to Premier League seasons, and how Manchester City's broader rebuild unfolds around him all provide natural, easy-to-track threads that extend the excitement of this summer's tournament directly into the club's season ahead. With City opening their campaign at home against Bournemouth, newly minted American fans finally have a concrete date and opponent to circle as this next chapter officially begins. At the end of the day, this next chapter of Haaland's career arrives loaded with genuine intrigue. A new manager attempting to build his own identity, a reshaped squad still finding its footing, and a superstar striker whose individual brilliance remains the one true constant amid all of that surrounding uncertainty. Whether Maresca's Manchester City ultimately proves capable of extending the club's recent dominance or requires real time to find its footing, one thing remains clear based on Haaland's own history: betting against his individual production has rarely been a wise decision. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you are subscribed so you catch our next video the moment this new season truly gets underway, because a chapter this significant deserves to be followed from the very first whistle.